My name is Miriam Kramer, and no, my voice does not always sound like this. Sometimes it sounds worse. No, I'm kidding. Um, I'm going to try to run through this solar eclipse video quickly so I don't hurt myself any further. And then I think I'm going to have a nice hot toddy and put myself back to bed. Yeah, why not? Okay, so no, I'm not late on the solar eclipse energy, especially when I have good stuff to give you for you to keep track of in your astrology charts. I like for people to keep an astrology journal for moments like the eclipses, because even just writing down the date and that it was a solar eclipse, and you write down the topic of what life kind of issues you've been handling during this time. You wait a few months and go back to look at it, and you can see how that topic has evolved and how it's changed. And the eclipses they're not, well, let's just say that it's like a herald. I know that sounds bad. It's like blowing a trumpet. It's like, but hold on, I got to think of this because this is freaking classic. What just went through my head. I think it's like in tennis, where they have the teenagers or something and they're grabbing the placard and they're running across with like a flag or something. It says, now, change the channel to this. We're going to be focusing on this. Is it a prediction? I guess you could say it's a prediction of sorts. There's an area where in the sky where the sun and the moon line up in this new moon solar eclipse, it's going to hit the degree point that sits right there. And there's a gate, a door, a portal. I don't care what you call it, but it's an opening of some kind in the sky. And for the next 6 months to however long, anything that moves to the door, you're going to get a refresh of the topic that you're having right now. And so if you watch the clock above us, you'll see what time and what day these topics that you're dealing with right now can come back up again. And if you're not like on top of your stuff, well, no, let me take that back. If you study astrology, then you know that energy is just energy. It's sort of like walking into the ocean on the beach. Water is just water on the beach. However, if you know that something's coming at you, you can choose to use whatever else you want when it comes to that water. So folks that live in fear and they go, I don't know what's coming ahead, I feel it's empowering. And that's usually what prediction is. It's empowering to know what's coming ahead of us so that you can make a better choice. Let me give you new astrologer people an idea of what I'm talking about. So there's a point in my chart where I was watching it. I was clocking the clock. And anytime the moon moved to a certain position in the sky, I'd get a freaking bill, like a medical bill in the mail. And I'd have to like sit down and look at it and write a check and go online and pay it or whatever. I swear to you, like every month, every time the moon went a corner, I'd get this freaking bill. So I got sick of that real quick. And I decided to take charge. And I said, you know what? It looks to me like I have 2 weeks until that moon hits that position again. I don't want no medical bill. Energy is energy. I can turn it into whatever I want as long as it's that topic. If it's that topic, and I can find something better to do with my time than sit down and pay another medical bill. So I clocked it and I was like, okay, the moon's 2 weeks out. So you know what I did? I bought a piece of furniture. I bought a piece of furniture about 2 weeks out, right? So here comes the moon. I was testing it. And on the day that the moon hit that place, guess what showed up at the door, right? My piece of furniture showed up at the door. Guess what did not show up at my door that month? A medical bill. I had swapped out the energy because I was looking at the clock. And that's what astrology can do for you. When you're watching the clock and you're keeping up with the clock, all of us don't want to get hit with a bat. And I'm not saying that, there aren't those issues, especially karmically. And if you don't believe in karma, let's just use the word sin, that don't need to be corrected, because those things do show up. However, if you know they're showing up on a certain date and time, you can be much more prepared. That's all I'm saying. When it comes to this particular solar eclipse, it has an extra emphasis of energy. So according to the calculations that I use, this is Celeste Teal's book. It's called Eclipses. It's very simple. Her name is Celeste Teal. You can get this at any one of your bookstores. And in here, she gives the way to gauge the intensity of an eclipse. And every time there's eclipse, I break that book out and I sit down and do my little math right here. And I gauge the intensity. So this eclipse was no different. The intensity of this eclipse, I gave it a rating of 7 out of 10. So the strength of a 7, which is pretty strong, okay? I will also say, because of this situation right here, and I know I wrote Saturn closes the portal on February 5th. This is a very short time period for this eclipse. So if you have any planets or any of your major angles touching any of these areas right here, from 20 degrees to 29 degrees of Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, or Gemini, then I want you to go ahead and increase the intensity an 8 to 10. Okay? Now, if you also have any planets at 0 degrees to 9 degrees of Libra, Capricorn, Cancer, or Aries, and that includes your major lines, right? Then I want you to go ahead and crank up the intensity of this to an 8 out of 10. That's pretty intense. It's not just life altering. It's like you have to move. Like if there's 12 areas in a chart, it's going to ask you to move 9 of them. That's going to take a lot of effort. Okay. So prepare for further changes. And everybody just went, It also carries this eclipse because of the 29. This is what's called in astrology, it's called an anaretic degree. Why? Because you've taken all of this energy and you've built it up like a cumulonimbus cloud in the sky. You know what a thunderstorm cloud looks like from far, far away. And you see that line of clouds that's dark and angry on the bottom, but you're far enough away to see the column of the cloud that goes up into the atmosphere. And there's just energy pushing and pushing and pushing. Well, at some point at the 29th degree, you've built up so much energy that the bottom of that cloud falls out. And all of that cloud will expunge all of its energy. And that's what an anaretic degree at 29 does. It says, okay, world, you've built up 29 degrees of this cumulonimbus cloud in the sign of Virgo. So now we're going to take all that Virgo energy and we're just going to chip it, pitch it out. Okay. It's not an expectation. Okay, this isn't something that I expect to happen. This is something that will happen, whether I give permission for it or not. It's just when we name a thing, we can handle the thing much better. So the anaretic degree often signals urgency, culmination, or a decisive turning point before the energy shifts into the next sign. And because it's the last degree of Virgo, the next sign would be Libra, okay? This eclipse was also in exact opposition to retrograde Saturn in Pisces, but also Neptune in Aries, okay? This is adding a layer of tension, responsibility, and the need to reconcile opposing priorities. Now, it is no small thing for Saturn to close a gate. Very rarely in the past 9 years that I've been doing astrology have I seen this. But the portal will close February 5th. And I completely understand that February 5th might be a pretty, February on the whole might be a very, mobilized month. Is that a good way to put it? Let me also say that in the mathematical calculations of gauging for intensity for this solar eclipse, yes, I do end up using President Trump's chart. And I did actually pull up America's chart, the United States of America, because if you live in another country and you have your country's natal chart and your country has any one of these degrees or these degrees, then the intensity of that 8 out of 10 will also include what your country will have to bring to the table. So if you're into astrology and you're digging it, get the map for yourself, right? For you, but also for whatever country that you live in, so that you can see what kind of intense energy will be headed your way, especially if you like to keep up to date with certain things. And I'm getting a hit right now out of nowhere to also let you guys remember that Uranus is in Gemini. And Uranus at any point in time does speak about one of the things of Gemini is to talk about the weather and weather anomalies. The anomalies of the weather, where the weather can flip in Gemini very quickly. Intensity can go from 0 to 100 very, very quickly. Major weather anomalies that just happen overnight. And we have seen that here in the United States with Central Texas. And you guys saw that awful experience that happened with the camp and the summer camp with the children. Just awful. Right now, it is also happening in Southern California, if you've not noticed, a weather anomaly of a mudslide that just came up out of nowhere. I have also been catching some of these weather anomalies off the coast of California, where people are stepping outside of their homes and water is just coming up out of nowhere. No weather, just water coming up out of nowhere. So weather anomalies. Also, because it's Gemini energy, know that maybe snowstorms this winter might be a little strong, okay? Gemini energy would, I'm not above any kind of Gemini energy dropping rubber duckies on our heads from the sky. I'm really not. You never know what a Gemini is going to bring home. Okay. One day it could be a cat. It's a very cute little cat. And other days it could be the neighbor's rubber ducky. And you'd be like, I don't want you to go put that back, but I do want you to put that back. But again, I don't want you to put that back. So now you're going to give it to me and make me go give the neighbor back his rubber ducky. How awkward and how awful. Anyway, Uranus in Gemini, strange anomalies. Just keep that in mind. I got the hit. I did my job. Let's move along. Please also include for any of the connections. I'm going to put the connections on your individual maps of your charts. You want to include any major lines as well as any planetary placements. And I'm saying it and repeating it again because a lot of people do go back through the videos and they do use it as a teaching tool, which I love because I am a natural teacher. Let's go ahead and look at this eclipse business. It was not a total eclipse. It was a partial eclipse. And this is the reason why they called it partial. I looked at it and, I just gauged it with my eyeball and I was like, oh man, that's like 86% covered. Don't take me at that. I'm just throwing random numbers out there, but you can definitely see that the sun, the moon got in front of the sun that much. Solar eclipses are a lot of fun because solar eclipses also include heads of state, heads of governments, heads of any globally recognized individual like movie stars, celebrities, CEOs of businesses, nonprofit organizations. You can also see heads of companies that you work for kind of going through it. And because the moon kind of covers the sun, certain things that have been hidden or in the shadows, it's like a moment where something can be seen, maybe for the first time. And it can be shocking. But again, let's not assume that all information is bad information. Sometimes information is good. And let's just call it early on that perhaps you might get 50% bad news and then 50% good. And overall, that sounds like life, right? That's a little more balanced. It'll just be more intense, which prepares you to take something on at a certain level of intensity. And maybe that's the change that's required. For me, a portion of this solar eclipse is my infusions. I have to start infusions soon. And the doctor told me straight up, the doctor was like, Miriam, we're going to give you your body back. And I was like, okay, what's that look like? Because it's been going on for so long. Hold on. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Ali Arroyo. Dear love of our lives, thank you for the hot tea and the tarot deck. Both Heather and I had a cup of the hot tea yesterday. It's like a blueberry tea. And what perfect timing, because both of us are wrecked with our sore throats right now. In fact, I think I'm going to pause right there and go get another cup of Allie's beautiful tea. Thank you for the gifts. I'll be right back. Okay, so the tea is steeping, and let us move on. The path and the visibility of the solar eclipse. Let me go ahead and zoom in for you. There you can see this right here. Ooh, that's not going to work. This right here is Australia. Hello, all my Australia folks. And right here is New Zealand. Hello, Amber. We love you very much. All of our hugs and kisses, which means that a very large portion here that is being also touched is Antarctica. And there are a lot of things happening down there with or without your knowledge. There's a lot of things happening in the news in Antarctica. One of the world's largest icebergs cracked off of the continent there. Yes, it's a continent and is now just floating. There have been several very large tsunamis caused by the rocking back and forth of the icebergs that have been cracking off. Also, a lot of really interesting finds that archaeologists have been finding down there. None of the least to say they found a civilization down there that was 140,000 years old. I am very interested to see if they developed a language, because if those folks developed a language, then maybe they have, something written in stone or trees or something that we can run through AI to see what they were trying to tell us. More findings will come out. I would also like to point out that if all of the ice around Antarctica begins to melt, okay, it's going to cause a very large global issue. So if anyone says, oh no, I'm not looking at this eclipse because it's not going to affect me personally. Well, my friend, I beg to differ, because 70% of the world's population lives within, like 200 miles of a coastline. And that means that shipping and trade would be affected, that marine life would be affected. Those people that use those fishing industry trades, also oil manufacturers, the oil rigs that are out there that we depend on for oil. The poles, I'm going to just put a little X right there for the South Pole, good old SP. We are very close, and like any moment now, because we've been waiting for the magnetic poles to shift. At the North Pole, at the very exact opposite place of this mark right here, at the North Pole, true north, has already shifted far into Siberia. Okay, and with each moment, it gains momentum and is going faster and faster. Now, if I divide the Earth like this, and let's just say that's the North and the South Pole, then nobody knows if this magnetic flip is going to be a 180 degree. We don't know. I was watching something the other day that was like, I guess we've had plenty of time for all these scientists. Somebody was like, well, this scientist has developed a theory that says it's going to be a 90-degree flip. And I was like, dude, if it's a 90-degree flip, which I am not expecting, I thought it was going to be a 180, but I've been wrong with things before. But if it's a 90-degree, I am totally in the wrong place right now. Completely. This would put me closer to one of the poles. It's very cold in those locations. That's not where I want to be, that far north. But magnetic poles being what they are, none of us have control of it. It's very similar to just taking two basic magnets. You can feel the force, you feel the force, right? And then all of a sudden they flip, really fast, just like that. The same thing is going to happen. So a lot of changes with our Earth. Just don't cross off the fact that 70% of the Earth's population lives off of coastlines. And there was something else I wanted to tell you guys about this. Well, let me start by saying this. The ruler of this eclipse is Mercury. And just like in, titles that you would give to like a duke or an earl, in astrology, we call this a lord. What is the lord of this eclipse? Me lord. The lord of this eclipse, me lord, is Mercury, okay? Personally, I don't think it's a Gemini Mercury. I think it's a Virgo Mercury, because the eclipse happened in Virgo. That's kind of a no-brainer, right? So the Lord being Mercury, and the fact that you do have the touching in opposition to both Saturn and Neptune kind of brings those influences in as well. So we have Saturn, right? And then you have Neptune. And anyone who knows anything about astrology, Neptune is Pisces, right? Is the 12th house. So they're all the same. That's all the same. They all, oh, that's my timer. I'll be right back. My little ladybug says my tea is ready. Anytime I'm doing something healthy for myself, I always assume that my mother is watching me and going, oh, that's good for you, Minky. This is really delicious. Thank you, Allie. Doesn't it always feel great when you have a sore throat and you drink something lovely like that? Okay, where was I? Oh, yes, Neptune, Pisces, 12th house. Well, Pisces rules all of this ocean. And remember, it's all the same energy. They all act the same. But Pisces also rules things like icebergs. Okay, it rules things like ice and snow. A lot of snow, a lot of ice. Okay, so let's not forget that. Saturn, of course, that represents the form that it's been in. And if you have Mercury on the other side of this sort of situation going on right there, and Mercury in Virgo, it can touch the, where is it? Natural resources, but also it can touch the environment for those natural resources. Okay, so I'm just going to write Virgo over here as well. Other things that Virgo would touch, your schedule, the way that things are organized in your company, in your business, in your home. It can rule public health and things going on with public health. We all know some of that. I'm just going to throw this out there because if you follow my channels, you know this is something dumb, I would say. But how many of you guys have had the thought of what the heck are they doing down there? And, you know, are you sure that you absolutely want to go unfreezing things down there? Scientists around the world are able to take some of the DNA that they find these days, and then they replicate it. They mimic it, they replicate it, and they can grow it, you know, in like a petri dish. And so some of us have thought, hey, what are you doing down there? What's going on? Like there's something down there we need to know? You sure you want to go taking that into a lab and thawing something out? Is that really what you want to do? You know, that sort of question. You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and move along. And let's look at the chart because it's already been 29 minutes. My goodness. Okay. This location is here in Del Rio, but what I did is, as you see, let me zoom in. Well, I'll drag it down here and then I'll zoom in. Is I created a whole event in the astro.com website. Okay. I created an entire event and just named it Solar Eclipse for September 21st, 2025. That way I could do several things with the event chart itself. I could do a synastry chart with my own chart. right there. I could do a composite chart with it, but then I could also be nosy, because any of us that have started learning astrology, we are very nosy people. We pull up our family and our friends all the time. And sometimes, I think Heather would be the one to say, pull up a multi composite chart, right? With the event, but also with another person, place, or thing, because it'll let you do that. Who knew? Well, we nosy people, we keep the charts of our family members and our friends because, here's the leverage I'm going to let you have on this. All of it is good practice, okay? All of it is good practice. So, you keep practicing, people. I love it. I love it. Yes, I do. All right. All right. You guys see the blue kite, right? If you can't see the blue kite, let me change colors. If you can't see the blue kite, let me show it to you right here. Please do not, take your eyes off the road if you're driving. Please keep your eyes on the road. Please. Here is the blue kite. Blue kites are really fun to work with because they make it so doggone easy. We see back here the actual eclipse happening in Virgo. We see on the other side over here, and put a big old X, we see that Saturn-Neptune conjunction that's going on in opposition. Yeah, the curious part is that Neptune is at 0 degrees, which is another anaretic degree, and 48 minutes. Anaretic degrees, like we just talked about, is sort of like an urgency. In this case, with the 0 degrees, it's a fresh slate. It's right at the beginning of something. You could almost say with the 0 degree point, we've never done this before. It's a lot like that. But it's fresh and it's new, and it's given us, I would say, from 0 degrees to 12 degrees. I would say that that's a learning curve. And once Neptune actually steps to the 13th degree, which is another anaretic degree, it's kind of like, okay, you've gotten all your training. Here's the tool, get going. So we can anticipate that date in the future. And Ceres is right here on top of that, almost 12 degrees. And she's like, no, I swear, Saturn, I swear that this, Miriam can do it. I have watched her. I have been with her. I see what she can do with her Scorpio energy. I know she can do it. She's going to be great, right? Saturn's over here at the 28th degree of Pisces going, are you sure? All right, then, fine. If that's the person you've chosen to do this job, then Miriam, grab your Scorpio and let's go. You, pack your desk. Let's go. And you're like, me? Just, you want me? Am I special today? Do I want to be special today? It sort of gives us that, Virgo is the place of discernment, judgment, making a call. Okay. Well, in Virgo, we have to make a call. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. We see something, especially if it's quick, and we have to make a call. Sometimes that decision is very fast. And so something that is quick could happen around this topic where you are being chosen by Saturn in Pisces to just all of a sudden take your skills and become a leader. I have watched for the past few days how this has been working, and Scorpio is the place in your chart where you have the most personal power, okay? And let me erase all of this so I can start at the right place. So Scorpio energy, right? This personal power of ours, and because it is Scorpio, people usually come to us for our personal power when it comes to the actual house where Scorpio is in our charts. Yes? Good. What we're looking for, you beginners out there who are listening to me, every one of these numbers down here identifies what kind of house lives there. Like this is the 9th house. I just circled. I'm going to use red. And this house is 11. This one's 10. This one's 9, 8, so on and so forth. Okay. It only goes up to 12. So that should be pretty simple. But you can recognize what house you're in by looking right here at the numbers that are inside of these little pie piece slices. Like this one's 6, this one's 7, this one's 3, 4, on and on and on. Each one of these houses has its own definitions. It's sort of like saying, I'm just going to say it like this. You live in a mansion, okay? You live in a mansion, and each one of these houses represents a room. Okay, room equals house. I'm just going to simplify it for everyone so you can keep up. But each one of these rooms, you have to go through a door, like a doorway. We call the doors to the rooms, we call them cusps. They're spelled like that. Okay, so we want to move from the 10th room in the house, and we want to go to the 11th room like this. I'm teaching you now astrology, and there's going to be a door. You must pass through the door to get into the next room. It's not an overcomplicated thing. Okay. When doing astrology, we want to key in on what zodiac sign is over the door cusp, which zodiac sign rests on top of the threshold of that door, right? Moving from one energy in the way that it feels in this room. I'm going to open that door over there, and I'm going to go feel the energy in that room because it's real different. It's got different windows. It's got different decor. It's got different smells. It's got different furniture. Each one of these houses, it's exactly like that. So if you are new at astrology and all this does not make sense, don't worry. We are here for you. We want to go into your personal chart. And we want to go into the room by which Scorpio energy, here's the little zodiac sign for you. We want to see what room cusp Scorpio rests on top of. And right here in this chart, we see that Scorpio is resting over the 9th threshold, over the 9th door, right? And we see that because this little bitty bit much is kind of overlapping the door. Excuse me. God, I love you, Allie. That's my girl. Okay. Personal power. And people come to this person, come to us for our personal power. I don't know why. They just do. If you don't believe in past lives, that's good, because I do. I believe for all of us. And I have enough research to know that it's actually true. So we're talking about personal power. This is a place that people come to you and say, please, 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 okay? Over the ninth house, let's say that this person has knowledge of all the cars from the 1940s through the 1970s, okay? And this person has spent the past 30 or 40 years just gathering knowledge and getting a higher knowledge point of all these cars, right? And in this person's chart, Uranus is retrograde right there on the door threshold, the cusp between the third and the fourth house. And so let's say that you have someone who's like, oh my God, my neighbor, we need to go talk to my neighbor because my neighbor knows all the cars, their manufacturers, the model, the make, the metal, the fiberglass. This person loves these cars. They made it kind of like their obsession, right? And it's a neighbor, third house, that says, hey man, I know a guy who knows a guy. Well, the Virgo placement back here would sort of say, hey, you've collected all this Virgo patterns, right? Repeats, puzzles, puzzle pieces, right? All these drawers, what's in the drawers, all the softwares and how to use them and all that stuff. You have it all. And we've honed in on the opposition point to the eclipse. And let's just come in and put a line that goes straight to the opposition, because this person's Neptune in Aries is their unique identifier. This person's different. They're weird. Their weirdness is now with Saturn being asked to become a leader. Somebody knocks on this guy's door, says, hey, who are you, man? Hey, I hear that you're into cars. And goes, yeah, man, I love cars, but who are you? And the guy says, we've heard of you. We've heard of your garage. Show us your garage, man. The guy's like, oh man, you want to see my garage? Yeah. You see that passion, right? Bah. And next thing you know, Saturn comes in and the guy looks around and he goes, yeah, this'll do. We want you to join a reality TV show. And we want you to get on camera for everyone across the country. And we want you to talk about these cars. And in that moment, was that guy expecting it? No. Could he do it? Yeah. Does he want to? And that's what the next 6 months is about. Saturn's giving us 6 months because the door to the eclipse, the portal that I was telling you guys about, remember at the very beginning, right here, I said that Saturn closes the portal February 5th, 2026. That's the only way that eclipses end. Eclipses end when Saturn crosses the threshold of the degree point in either conjunction or opposition. And Saturn will be moving across that threshold February 5th, 2026. And so between now and then, this guy is going to have to decide whether he wants to take that option of using his personal power towards whatever the divine collective needs him to do. Is it a calling? Yeah. Is it a calling ... from God? Yeah. But because it is a calling from your higher power to use the most skillful thing you have in your bag, you do have a choice, And some people, they won't choose bravery or courage Or, the excitement you have when you're about to go on a trip for the first time and you're like, oh my God, oh my God. 6 months gives everyone enough time to say yes or no. Because in that 6-month period, and those of us who hear the calling as of today, today is February 22nd, or not, today is September 22nd, 2025. Heather and I, we've already heard the calling. A lot of you heard the calling way back there. What we were not expecting were for plans to change. And more importantly, they're plans that take us off our original focal point of what we were doing. Heather and I, we thought we were both together going in the same direction like this. But as the calling came, her and I, it's partly why everyone thinks that we're dragging our feet. We're not dragging our feet. It's that we know that one of us is going this way and the other one's being called to go the other way. Will it be similar? Sure, we know the things that the other person is doing, but her calling is much different than my calling. And my calling is still getting carved out for all the things I'm supposed to do to answer this call. Yeah. So here we sit, me and you. I'm going to erase some of this. You're going to have a choice of what it is that you want to accept, because either you're going to boldly and bravely answer the call without question and just kind of go, right on, let's go. Or you're going to hang on to something and say, I don't think I can let this thing go yet. I'm not done experiencing this person. I'm not done experiencing this home. I'm not done experiencing this software, whatever it is. I hope very much so that whatever choice you make, it becomes the right one for you. Because you're the only one that has to live your life. Yes, there are other things going on in this chart, but I also wanted to pull up the February 7th composite chart. If you look up here, it's the midpoint method, and I did take the ending date. I came close, February 7th, even though it's supposed to be February 5th, but I turned the camera on before I fixed that, so yeah, we'll deal. Composite chart between the solar eclipse and then the gate closing. And give me just a second so I can look at the chart and kind of, because man, look at that, Neptune's at 0 degrees. Again, 0 degrees of Aries just sitting there. Saturn's right back at that position. It is. This is the composite too. But both positions and the North Node is in the 12th house. Let me tell you about North Node in the 12th house. Like this chart would be like the midpoint of why. Why would these two dates be important to you as a human being? And the North Node in the 12th house says that you've given in service, and now this would be like, yes, you have worked and maybe other people have supported you in your work, but you've also learned and become proficient. Look at the 13th degree, the anaretic degree. It's like, pick up that power and let's go. That's what I'm saying. This solar eclipse is, come on, y'all, dinner's ready. The February 5th date, 2026, is the day where they say, eat. Let's go. Let's get her done. Venus is going to be conjunct Lilith in, in Scorpio, opposing 29th degree, 28 and 29, Priapus and Uranus. Man, I can't make this up, dude. Jupiter. It's going to be tough because the expansion point here, again, the insecurity is either A, feeling like you don't have enough, B, having to have a really hard conversation with somebody else about the direction you're fixing to move in because you're going to get a lot of kickback, right? D, A, B, C, well, let's be C, something, 1, 2, 3. Whatever choice you made is going to make, it's going to have to be done in faith. And people are going to be like, are you sure you have? And what if this? And what if that? And what if this? And it's testing our faith to say yay or nay. I will share this with this other person. I will give this with this other person. We will consume and ingest this together. And maybe it's a moment. Maybe it's a bank account. But it is something done in generosity for the purpose of the whole, but for all, you know. Man, it's creeping me out just looking at this because the moon here, it's at 14 degrees. So if we were actually looking at February 5th, it's probably going to be at 13 degrees. And I'm going, okay, so now we got the moon involved. The North Node says, I have the ability to do. And everybody else is saying, just because you have the ability to do doesn't mean that you just go out into the world and you give it away. You share it like this and you open yourself up, because the kickback is going to be something from Pluto and Aquarius. And maybe you have an audience, right? And the audience makes audience mad, right? Maybe you're mad that your audience is asking this of you. How dare they, right? Yeah. Mars conjunct up here in Sagittarius. Mars is conjunct Juno. Let me pull up the Sabian symbol to that, 20 degrees, 51 minutes, and let's see what push is coming from Jupiter. Because I believe that this chart gives us the answer to who, what, when, where, why. Okay, so just give me a second. Let me do my job. Okay, so I have the Sabian symbol from Linda Hill's book, The Sabian Oracle, 360 Degrees of Wisdom. If you do not have this book, please get it. Our pages are just worn down from use. Heather and I, we use it all the time. So out of Linda Hill's The Sabian Oracle, it's a child and a dog wearing borrowed eyeglasses. And of course, you may see some of this, but also sometimes it's not a bad thing. Okay, sometimes when reading these, it's more of a statement instead of a judgment, if that makes sense. And sometimes it's more of a statement instead of a positivity. Just something, okay? So a child and a dog wearing borrowed eyeglasses shows play, impersonations, and free-flowing perceptions of fun and enjoyment with others. The eyeglasses can symbolize intelligence or a thoughtful nature, and by wearing them, one can give the impression of having these attributes. So I'm going to start right here. A child and a dog with eyeglasses, who may be you or someone else in the situation, does not care what the eyeglasses are all about. By giving the eyeglasses to the dog, the child shows that he doesn't know or worry about what intelligence or wisdom truly are. For the moment, he wants them to act like grown-ups, seemingly smart and in control of their lives. Perhaps someone is pretending to be more in control or smarter than they are, or is this situation of innocent play? Whatever the situation, this can work to make a consciousness shift by changing both your appearance and your perceptions. You can create something new, some new understanding of your dreams or understanding of how life can be, and it can help you to grow into it. So let's go down here to the keywords: emulation leading to actualization, the rewards of make-believe, dog obedience classes and training, pantomimes, dealing with life through play or fantasy, difficulty in understanding each other, the perception each has of the other, spontaneous care and carefree creativity, cartooning and clowning, having the eyes to see, glasses of all kinds. So the caution is deliberately fooling with false impressions, taking on masks to hide real intentions, the blind leading the blind, pretending to be something that one isn't, not seeing people or things for who, what, or how they really are, getting lost in abstractions, goofing around too much, play acting to avoid the truth, not having the eyes to see. So, I have a story that kind of goes with this, but it's kind of personal. It has to do with people who were younger than me telling me their original intention was to work. I have Capricorn over the 4th, so I see myself as a Capricorn. Work means discipline. Discipline takes time, and time and discipline, it's a lot like time, water, and pressure. You can wear down anything, except when these people came into contact with me close enough to do the work. Upon arrival, guess what they did not choose? It was an option, but I'm not anyone's mother in that regard. I don't chase people down to live their dreams. If you say this is your dream and you want it that badly, you will motivate yourself. Otherwise, I'm not touching it. That's your lane. You see what I mean? So in that regard, it was a lot like children playing, thinking it was all just fun, and then putting on glasses to give the impression that they were smarter than they really were. Smarts, intelligence, that's all wonderful things, but without application, you don't get establishment. And without establishment, you have not anchored your own dream. And so you may, especially at the February 5th timeline, we may see a lot of that. People who thought they had control of that area in Scorpio, maybe these folks thought that they could actually offer something, and then they find out they can't. Like, I should never have made a promise like that to you, because in truth, I didn't have control of my Scorpio area. That belonged with someone else, It can also be a time of, and I'm going to just write the word. You guys remember Heath Ledger's character when he played the Joker? One of the best examples. And he came out and he said, "Why so serious?" Like that. Why so serious? And if the next 6 months you become too serious and you have forgotten how to play, then, simple goofing off and playing around to ease tensions may be happening, but the person who is so serious may be so challenging to be around that they don't know how to let down their hair and have a little fun. Notice also that it spoke about the kickback that could come, which is very obvious in the chart from what I can see right here. The kickback of people sort of saying, "What are you doing? What do you think you're doing?" But for those of us that are awake and we know how to take a knee and be a student when it's our turn to be a student, and to stand up when it's our turn to be the teacher, that natural give and take of Virgo energy that we all learn how to become better at. I'm not saying we're perfect, but everyone can teach us something, if that makes sense. And this Scorpio area here with Venus leaving it, it's, oh man, that's crazy. Look, Atropos is at the 18th, 18 degrees, 40 minutes. Atropos talks about like destruction that flattens something and it's destroyed. And it's trining Pluto. And then Uranus steps in at the last degree of Taurus. Wow. Well, I mean, that's the thing about Scorpio energy. You never quite know what you're going to get. You just know that some things need to be taken down and put back up. But I'll say like this. Remember a couple years ago when I lost the YouTube channel? In the last 2 years, I've moved very slowly because of the new lessons that have accompanied me along the way, and understanding that ensuring the foundation of whatever I build next needs to be included in the plan, and to go slowly this time, not to race. Because in a moment like this, and let's say that with these energies coming in, something quote unquote gets flattened, right? Will I have a backup? Do I know what I'm doing? Is it that I can allow one thing to crash and have another thing to step up to the plate? Did I build that into the system? There's going to be a lot of questions like that. A wise person would say yes. And I would like to think that I'm wiser this time around the bend. And hopefully with your Scorpio energy, so are you. Emma Bell always taught me to keep plans, other plans in my pockets, in my back pockets at all times. Proserpina is going to be sitting right there at that last degree point of Virgo where the eclipse energy was. And Proserpina, let me spell it out for you. Proserpina. It is asteroid number 26. And in short, Proserpina means swapping one thing out for another. Swapping one thing out for another. And if the energy talks about something getting flattened, that, child and the dog with the glasses could be that I have to fake it till I make it moment, because either you were prepared or you were not prepared. And I think in that moment, the question at the very beginning was, are you going to answer the Divine Collective's call if you are being called by God to do this thing? Excuse me. In this moment, it would look a lot like the worst thing that could possibly happen to you regarding that calling. You applied for seminary and you get refused. You have to take a certain test again. You failed, right? Are you going to choose with Capricorn determination to get back up or quit? And that's why I'm saying you're going to have a choice to take this or not take this. And with astrology, like I told you at the very beginning, you can always set yourself up for success if you have the dates. And again, that's February 7th or February 5th is when that's going to happen. Okay. That's enough for today, you guys. I have done the Capricorn reading. I am going to be pushing it through AI this afternoon and getting it posted for you. We are doing readings, you guys, and I am hooking up right now today. I am hooking up the payment installment through, what is it? Affirm and Klarna. And there's one more. But after today, we will have that pay as you go installment plans for you guys who want to do the astrology chart readings with us, but you don't necessarily have everything up front. So it was Heather's idea. Everybody high five her because she's brilliant and I love her. And I will see you guys later. Bye.